oppose abortion, and here's why.
By keeping abortion legal, it would reduce the amount of back alley abortions or unsafe abortions. It also reduces the risks that come with it. Back alley abortions are the direct result of the 87% of U.S. counties that do not provide abortion service.
Keeping abortion legal would benefit society by not raising babies in poor, neglected environments where they will be more attracted to crime and welfare. 19% of teens who have had sexual intercourse become pregnant each year. 78% of these pregnancies are unplanned. Each tax dollar spent on abortion services saves an average of $3 in Medicaid costs for pregnancy expenses. Without these services, federal and state Medicaid expenses would increase by $1.2 billion a year.
43% of women will have at least one abortion by the time they're 45 years old. The risk of death associated with childbirth is about 10 times as high as associated with abortion. Roe versus Wade in 1973 ruled unconstitutional a state law that banned abortions except to save the life of the mother. The court ruled that the states were forbidden from outlawing any aspect of abortion performed during the first trimester of pregnancy. Do you think abortion should be decided by a person or the government?
I think it should be decided by the person because that's what this nation is built on, to democracy.
So what do you think the pros of abortion would be?
Well, some women don't have the financial resources to support a child, and some neighborhoods wouldn't be overpopulated, and government subsidies wouldn't be high.
Right down to your toes, that all of life's choices are owed to you. Sure, you'll skin your knees along the way, but you'll learn that it's your body, your life, and your responsibility. Never give up the freedom to choose your dreams.
Yeah, the reason I think abortions should not be legal is because most people think that the majority of girls that are getting abortions is because they were raped, when that's really not the case. It's only I think it's less than 1%. So most people are just getting abortions because they're not ready to have a baby, or they're think that they're too immature, they just don't want a baby at that time. But that's not a good enough reason to take a life, because when people are having sex, they know that having a baby is a consequence of that, and so they should be taking the precautions not to have one, instead of, oh look, I made a mistake, now let's get rid of it.
It's more than just candidates, SBA. You act as a representative for all feminists who believe in the culture of life. Organizations like the Susan B. Anthony list are returning the women's movement back to its original roots, back to what it was all about in the beginning. You remind us that the earliest leaders of the women's rights movements, they were pro-life. Women like your namesake, and like Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Sarah Norton, and Alice Paul, who of course was the author of the original Equal Rights Amendment back in 1923, she said abortion is the ultimate exploitation of women.
What would the restrictions be, if any?
I would say there should be a restriction on how far in the woman is, being pregnant. If she's past 2 months, then I don't think they should, just because then the baby's already
Mostly developed.
Yeah. If she's suitable to take care of the child, and how many times she's had abortions before.
What would the pros of legalizing abortion be?
Well, in serious cases like teenagers having pregnancies, I would say it helps teenagers because they're not suitable to take care of a child. And it also helps the parents of those teenagers because they're probably not ready to take care of their child's child, but the risks.
So Austin, any final thoughts?
It is a serious topic, and I think it should be thought over with great consideration if it should be legal. I think it should be legal just because there are those situations that it's an accident or whatever, you know. It always depends on the situation if they should or not. But it should not be abused. It should really take some consideration if abortion is the right thing to do.